Hi, I'm Dr. De Bruin, and this is a quick walkthrough of how to answer an exam question from the acids and bases topic of A-level chemistry. In this question, you're going to calculate pH following a neutralisation reaction. So it's not just enough to know how to work out pH, you need to be able to figure out what's going on in this reaction first. So the first thing that we're going to need is a chemical symbol equation, which they may give you in the question, or for something this straightforward, you may need to write yourself. You should be familiar with the formulae for hydrochloric acid and calcium hydroxide, but if you're not familiar with that alkali, then you need to think about the fact that calcium is in group 2, so it's going to need 2 hydroxides to make that compound. Now, in any kind of quantitative question, there are almost always marks for working out the moles of something. So even if you look at a question like this and you start panicking and think, I don't know where to begin with working out moles. So we do this using the equation concentration is moles divided by volume, which you can get from first principles by looking at the units if you've somehow forgotten it. And we can rearrange that to say that the moles is the concentration times by the volume. So I'm going to start with my hydrochloric acid. And I can say that my moles of HCl is going to be 0.1, which I've taken from the question, multiplied by 0.04, because of course my volume always needs to be in decimeters cubed, not centimeters cubed, and you may need to convert that. So that gives me 0.004 moles of hydrochloric acid, and you can see that I've annotated it here for my examiner, because your A-level chemistry examiners are always able to give you working marks, provided they can see where a particular number has come from. So if you somehow got this calculation wrong, but you've said, oh, this is hydrochloric acid, then they can then give you marks going forward. Now, because hydrochloric acid is monoprotic, so there's one hydrogen ion per hydrochloric acid, then actually the moles of hydrogen ions, which is what I'm really interested in, is going to be exactly the same. Then I can move over to my base. So for calcium hydroxide, I've got 0.001 moles. But you can see here that this is a dibasic alkali. I've got 2 hydroxides per calcium hydroxide. So you can think of it like a multi-pack with 2 Kit Kats in it or something like that. So if I then want to count up the hydroxide ions, there's actually going to be twice as many of them. So I need to double that number there. Now, in a neutralisation reaction like this one, we can write ourselves a little ionic equation. The hydrogen ions meet up with the hydroxide ions to make a water molecule. And so that's what's going to happen to a lot of these ions in this reaction. And what we're interested in is what's left over, what's in excess. So if I look at my hydrogen ions and I take away the hydroxide ions, I'm left with 0.002 moles of hydrogen ions in excess. If I ended up with hydroxide ions in excess, then there'd be another step I needed to do here with Kw, but thankfully this question isn't quite that complicated. Now, it's really important at this stage that you remember that we don't want the moles of hydrogen ions, we want the concentration in order to be able to work out pH. So for that, we need a volume, but it needs to be our new volume because we've added together these two solutions. So my new volume is going to be 40 plus 10 divided by 1,000 because it needs to be in decimeters cubed. So that's 0.05 decimeters cubed. So therefore my new concentration of hydrogen ions is 0.002 divided by 0.05, which gives me 0.04 moles per decimeter cubed. Now that is what I'm then going to use to work out my pH. pH, you hopefully know, is negative log base 10 of your hydrogen ion concentration, which here is 1.3979400 blah. But of course, we know that pH must always be recorded, at least in A-level exams, to 2 decimal places. So here I'm going to record this as 1.40, and that is my final answer. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you found that useful. If you did, then don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share the channel, and I'll be back soon with some more A-level chemistry walkthroughs.